or something like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be quick, whatever it is. Now, getting back to the Torah study class, we've already talked about that a little bit, or is there anything else that you've learned in that process, or anything that stands out?
I mean, fair amount. Now I'm going to get into the platitude department. Well, I guess I haven't, but you know, what I've really gotten out of it, I don't know whether I could measure how much more religious I've become, but I think what I've gotten out of it is how fundamental to how we live, our legal system, you know, the way of treating each other or not treating each other, how much of that comes from the Torah. And I think, secondly, if you read the parts about philanthropy, if you read parts about how you treat your neighbor, I mean, it's given us a way to live our lives, and you know, I think that's just phenomenally important. And then, you know, there is the more amusing side, but we were at a festival near Austin on Saturday, and I was out walking. I suddenly thought, you know, what a great book the Torah is. Look what Rachel did. You know, her husband works for Laban for 14 years. Finally says, I'm leaving. Leaves with some, you know, and everything's great. It's perfect. Not great with Laban, but you know, it's perfectly straightforward. Except, in effect, she steals all her father's jewelry. You know, and Laban arrives and says, "Hey, where's my jewelry?" And she says, "I don't have it." And Jacob says, "I don't have it." So she sits on it. So poor old Laban hangs around for a while and takes off. And you know, just understanding. First, it's a really amusing story, at least to me. But second, understanding how flawed we are, you know, how flawed our patriarchs were. And it helps to, on one side, helps to excuse our mistakes, but also helps us to think that despite how frail we are, how prone to making mistakes we are, you know, we still can be decent people contributing to society and conducting ourselves for the most part, or entirely, honestly, although I will give you a verse of a song we just wrote, if you don't mind. Don't think this song is done. There's still the biggest crook of all. Bernie Madoff has prime place inside this filthy hall. 60 billion is so vast, above the rest it soars. He believes in equal rights. He stole from rich as well as poor. So, so sometimes there is no redemption.
If you want to hear the whole thing, just come to Harley Strictly Bluegrass. We'll be at the porch stage, I think.
We will. As will Trish, who's now become one of our singers.
Not from having a great voice, believe me.
No, but the way you say sangers, I like that.
Sangers. Well. But you've been studying Torah for 20-plus years now, and still these stories seem really fresh and interesting.
Well, because suddenly you think of them in a new way, or suddenly, you know, completely unwittingly, you know, why did David have to kill Uriah? You know, wouldn't it have been good enough to let him go on being married? I mean, just suddenly, and you can see how amateurish I am, but just, you know, things pop into your mind that you've learned from the class, and they're just so interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm. And how did the Torah class get started?